Jim Scales, professor of economics as well as entrepreneurship at Indiana University East. But you guys also know me as the host of In Your Business. This season for In Your Business, we're doing things just a little bit different. And the fact that with COVID-19, our whole worlds have changed. All of us have made changes and adjustments. And just like you, we're changing things and working from home. And so I'm running the show this season from home. Rather than trying to have a fake screen and everything, we're just doing it from my living room and the guest living room. So today, I think it's going to be more of a studio than a living room. Mine's the living room, but I think J.D. Wayne is going to join us. He's the rock and roll painter. And as the rock and roll painter, I think we're going to visit his studio. We're going to learn about his business, what he's doing. We're going to learn about, what he did as a child, what he wanted to do as a child, and then grew into an adult, and how he's been helping this society ever since. So JD, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim.
So JD, I'm really excited to share with others and get to know you better and understand what it is you do as an entrepreneur. You probably don't think of yourself as an entrepreneur as much as you're an artist, but I do believe that artists are entrepreneurs.
Yes, thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. And I know when I first got started doing this, I did not think of myself as an entrepreneur, but as I look back on some of the steps it took to get here, I can see where, yes, I would qualify as entrepreneurship.
Good, good. I'm glad you see that, because I definitely see it. It's funny because when we talk about entrepreneurship, some people get a little intimidated, but they shouldn't. Entrepreneurship is like art, in the fact that we all have different interests and we share that interest. And as we build, we bring things to the market. You're bringing art to the market. Other people will bring things like maybe it's making quilts, or maybe it's selling retail, whatever it might be. Entrepreneurs come in so many different directions. So I enjoy working with them. So JD, let's get to know you a little bit. Where did you grow up? Were you born and raised in Richmond?
Born and raised right here in Richmond.
Okay, so you do come from Richmond, and as a child, what were you thinking? What did you want to be when you grew up?
It's funny to me when I look back. My earliest memory of a life goal that I wanted to be, I saw myself becoming president someday. I think it's because I had some sort of fascination from an early book I read about Abraham Lincoln. So I saw myself one day becoming president of the United States. Maybe that's where I got the top hat inspiration. Who knows?
So you wanted to be the president of the United States from as far back as you remember. And Abraham Lincoln was kind of that inspiration, you say?
I believe so, yes.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, like I say, early on, whether it was a book I read or something I saw on TV, something about his leadership abilities and the stories of his childhood growing up and all things that he had to go through to reach his success. So I was just inspired by that.
JD, before we go any further along, let's talk about the top hat. Okay. So it looks great on you. Okay. So what's the story with the top hat?
When I initially got started as the rock and roll painter, I had this cheap paper top hat. My brother suggested I put it on and put the sunglasses on and try to look like a rocker. And it just kind of fell into place. Then shortly thereafter, I was in New Orleans at Mardi Gras, and I went into a place that had a whole selection of fine top hats. And so I was able to find the real McCoy and get a top quality top hat. And it's became my logo. It just became a part of me.
So whenever we see the rock and roll painter, we're going to see a top hat.
Yeah, when I do my show, my local show, rock and roll painter, I wear it for the shows. When I've done some public appearances, I have the top hat on. Like I say, it's become part of me, and I enjoy that people identify me with it. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to learn a little bit more about the show and such here in a little while when we learn about your business. But so let's transition from when you were just that little boy to a young adult. When did you stop thinking about becoming the president of the United States?
Probably when I had to get in real life and realize that was a pretty lofty goal. I really don't know when I let go of that goal, but at some point, when you get into life and start working and having a career, you gotta get serious, and you have to have a job to pay the bills and raise your family. So I can't say when I let go of that goal, but as you see, I never reached that goal. So at some point in time, it disappeared.
Well, you're not finished yet, so I mean, anything could happen.
Maybe 2024, who knows?
Well, we'll look for those dates, okay? But JD, so you went on to high school, graduated from Richmond High, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So following that, did you go on into college or a trade school? Where did you go?
Well, I took the route with the military. I went in the Air Force.
Oh, okay, very good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So I did my time there, and then with marriage and kids, you end up getting, like say you need a job to pay the bills. So I ended up working at a local manufacturing facility here for 25 years and was able to get an early retirement from them.
Very nice. So you retired then from local manufacturing. And when did you start art?
That's a crazy story. I actually, let me go back to make it all make sense. I watched the old guy on TV, Bob Ross. I watched him for 25 years and always said, I can do that, but never took it serious. Well, I had a cancer scare that made me reevaluate life, realize that, there's no promise of tomorrow. If there's something you want to do it today. And I was walking in a local craft store and saw a sign that said Bob Ross painting class. And that's years before I'd have walked by and said I could do that, but suddenly I knew this was the day I'm gonna sign for a class and see what happens. And it's amazing that when I sat down and started painting, I almost felt the earth shudder on its axis because I knew my life changed at that moment. It's amazing how I felt. I knew something different was going to happen in my life at that moment.
So you signed up for the class and became a student. Now, was that like a 2-hour class, an all-day class? What was that?
It was a 4-hour, what they call make it, take it, where you come in with a blank canvas and you leave with a masterpiece.
Okay. Was yours a masterpiece?
It was amazing that I took a couple classes and then the instructor at that facility retired. And so some of the ladies that worked there came to me and said, can you start teaching the classes? I'm like, how do I teach the classes? I've only had a couple. What do you mean? How do I? So I went online, looked up, and found a Bob Ross school where you could get certified to become an instructor. And so suddenly I had to figure out how I could make this work.
So you just signed up for a 4-hour class,
Yes.
did it a couple times, then became the instructor?
Yes.
With the training. I mean, you went and got the training.
Yes. And that's where, like I say, at the time, I did not see myself as an entrepreneur, but there was some startup costs because it was 3 weeks in Florida. So there was travel involved. I had to provide my own supplies. And then actually at the time, I couldn't get 3 weeks off from work or vacation one time. So I had to take a week here, a week there, and a week there, which tripled the travel expenses.
Oh, yeah.
So it was quite a challenge to even get to that point. But then before you can ever start class, you got to have the equipment to teach the class, the easels, the brushes, the paint.
Sure.
So like I said, at the time, I didn't say, here are the startup costs I need, but all them startup costs, were something I had to overcome and make happen.
Wow. So do you still have the first piece you ever did?
The first painting, I sure do, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Although I had it leaning against the wall one day and I was gone and my dog decided to chew on the wooden stretcher bars a little bit. So it's not in an original condition, but I still have it.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story. So JD, when did you first start then? When did that happen?
I was over 50 when I took my first class. When I started, I knew that I wanted to get an early retirement. I was lucky that door opened for me. So this was all something I planned on to supplement my retirement income.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship or being an entrepreneur is not always about money. I knew there was going to be some rewards, but I wasn't going to get rich off it. But it would supplement my income. It would give me a chance to do something besides working all your life. Because I know most people never get the opportunity to do something they enjoy. You end up working your whole life and never get that opportunity. So by getting that early retirement and stumbling accidentally discovering I could do this, it gave me an opportunity to do something else besides working, something I enjoyed and could have some reward in doing it.
So then basically you were going to do this to supplement, and instead this is your business, right? This is your life.
Yeah, it was going to be more like a hobby, but it became my life. Yeah. People know me for what I do with art now, not what I did for 25 years in the production plant.
So now as an artist / entrepreneur, you have a business. You run this full time. This is your income. This is what you do.
Yes, I teach the classes, and I do a lot of commissions of portraits and different things. And I have a lot of stuff in a local gallery too. So I provide goods and service. Yes.
Okay. So rock and roll painter, that's your name. Is that correct?
Yes.
The rock and roll painter. So tell us, what does that mean? Where does that come from?
When I was taking my training, I discovered by accident I could paint very fast. It wasn't anything I had set out to do, but it just was my natural way of doing it. In those classes in the training, they kept telling me, slow down. But since it was my natural way of doing it, talking with some friends, I was wondering if I could do a whole painting within the time frame of a couple songs. Well, I soon discovered I could do it all in one song. So I could do a very fast speed painting, a full landscape type painting in one song. Like I said earlier, but when my brother said the top hat and the sunglasses, we put that all together and the rock and roll painter was born. I ended up doing a couple of some videos for YouTube, ended up getting a lot of views, but I didn't at that time understand copyright law. So I was using some music I wasn't supposed to be using. So those videos are not online anymore because I, wasn't allowed to do that.
So you did learn as you go, because you went to the training, you found out that yes, you could become an artist. Then you wound up becoming an instructor. Then you wound up learning when you put up YouTube that you can't use copywritten music, huh?
Yes. Yes.
So we become teachers and learners all together.
Well, as part of being an entrepreneur, you're responsible for the development, success, and failure. So that was something I considered a failure. That I went that route and found out I couldn't do that. So that's when the TV show came about too. So I was able to be this character, be the rock and roll painter, and do a whole painting in a 30-minute time segment instead of 3 or 4 minutes. But it gave me a chance to explain who I am, what I'm doing, and enjoy the interaction with the camera.
Okay. So you have your own television show, and
yes.
I'm assuming your show is called The Rock and Roll Painter.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so in The Rock and Roll Painter, you go into studio and start with a blank canvas.
Absolutely. Yep.
And do you play music then, or what? Tell us about your show.
I had learned we couldn't play music because of copyright issues, but we did have one special episode where a friend of mine, a young country music star, with her record company and her publicist, we were given special permission to play one of her songs that inspired a painting that I did. So we put that together. So that was one episode where, yes, we were given special permission and we included the music in the episode.
A typical show is 30 minutes. I'm assuming yours is 30 minutes.
Yes.
And you do just one painting then during that 30 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes, I'll usually start with a blank canvas, as we said, and explain what I'm doing. Here's the brush, here's the color. A lot like you saw the old guy on TV do. The same kind of template. And something I always do by the end of the show, I will stop and put the painting in a frame because I always like to see a finished painting in a frame.
Sure.
That's something that's kind of become my MO, is that I put it in a frame before I'm done.
And then now, JD, as you do this, I know that a lot of your work has the mountains and the trees and such. What do you enjoy painting?
I got started off with the mountain trees. Since then, I've discovered seascapes are really my passion, and animals. Let me show. I got another camera here. Let me show something. Some of the things I do back here. You can see the seascapes. It's just another camera, and you can see I call that my Mona Lisa back there. The flowers. I really discovered I can do florals very well, so I enjoy those. And you see the horse here, the animals, the eagle, the egrets. I found that's something I really enjoy doing. But you don't see any mountains and trees in those, so I've kind of found my own way.
I also noticed that these are not all canvas, so it looks like you're flexible about what you paint to.
I like to paint on a lot of different things. Those wood slices I like, milk jugs. I even got an ostrich egg I painted on, some florals on there. So yeah, it's unlimited what you can paint on. It's just a way to express yourself and have fun. That's one of the things I try to stress to people. I've been given this opportunity to do something else, and I try to have fun with it. I don't want it to ever feel like work. I want it to be fun.
Okay. Well, with that being said, no matter what our work is, we have things that we enjoy about it, okay? One of my favorite things about being a professor is being with the students. Other professors prefer their research. When it comes to your work as an artist, what is your absolute joy? What do you really enjoy painting?
The absolute joy that I enjoy painting is whatever canvas I start that day. And sometimes I never know what I'm going to paint, but it's to get lost in that moment in the canvas. But one thing that really brings me joy is when I have a class and I have students come in, they're just petrified, saying, I can't paint a straight line. And 4 hours later, they're walking out with a masterpiece and just grinning ear to ear saying, look what I've done, look what I've done. That brings me great joy to see that.
Okay, now I don't want you to tell all your secrets, okay? However, how do you take somebody like myself I can't paint, okay? I'm lucky if I can paint the wall in a room, let alone try to do something beautiful like that horse or a seascape. How do you get somebody like myself to be able to paint something?
Like I say, it's the technique. It's like you saw the old guy on TV is take this brush, this color, follow along, and we're never ever painting a straight line. It's taking color and creating shapes. And This back here, I did some Facebook Live events during the COVID shutdown, and I was able to get new students from all over the world to pay attention, see what I'm doing. But it's just basically taking a certain brush, a certain color, creating shapes, and just following along, paying attention. Before you know it, you have a masterpiece.
Well, it's beautiful work. There's no doubt about it. So when I speak to you about the business, I feel like I'm talking to you as an artist. But let's also talk about instruction, because when you started, at the same time you started as an artist, you started giving instruction. So you have well over 10 years now of experience teaching art and doing art. How do you do the courses? Is that something where you bring to the studio? Do you have places that you teach in the community? How does that work for your courses?
Well, actually, I've only had about 5 to 6 years of teaching experience. It took me a little bit to get certified. But yeah, I was lucky that when I got started, a local retailer had the classroom available, so I didn't have that expense, that worry of having a building or a venue where I needed to teach. So I usually promote the class online, or have sign-up sheets out there where people can come on and they see the painting on display, sign up. We'll all meet in the classroom. Everybody brings their canvas in. We sit down and we start painting, start slinging paint. Like I said, take this brush, this color, create this cloud. And it's usually a jovial, fun 4 hours. And when we're all done, everybody walks out with a masterpiece.
Now, does everybody in that class paint the same thing, or do they paint what's on their mind?
Yes. No, we're all working on the same painting.
So it's kind of almost like a template, if you will. It's everybody's going to do this same picture today.
Yes, I'll have the class project on display for a month, allow people to see what that class is going to be. And if it's something that they don't like, or something that they do like, they have that option of signing up, and they know coming to class, this is the painting we're going to do today.
So JD, you went to that class, and surprisingly enough, you went from trying it out to instructing and doing beautiful work. Has the same thing happened to you? Have you had a student, if you will, that came to your class that wound up becoming an artist?
Absolutely. I have one of my students who went on to become certified. She went down to Florida, did the travel, got certified, and she's doing a wonderful job. She lives up outside of Muncie, but yeah, she's teaching and doing great.
Okay, well, that's outstanding. Well, you and I have both headed towards the COVID-19. And it's been very difficult for all of us to make adjustments and make changes as we go. But has it affected your business?
Yes, quite a bit. The classes I was having at the local retailer all stopped because everything shut down for a while. So we couldn't have those classes. And since things are starting to go back up, we still have not been able to have the public classes. So yes, it had a big impact. I've still been able to have commissions, some different things, have some sales, but I've not had the classes, which was the bulk of my income.
So really, the classes are very important to your business.
Yes.
You said you do commission work as well, and so
Yes.
so people do hire you privately to do some work. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and then the courses, the classes, and how often do you have the classes?
We were doing twice a month. It was the first 2 Saturdays of the month, and it was the same class, but that allowed twice as many people to get involved.
And how many people? How many people do you typically have?
Typically 10 to 12 people in class, and then like I said, each class we're doing the same painting, but it's 10 to 12 different people. And then I had a group in southern Indiana that once a month I would go down and teach them. So that was another. We would teach Saturday and Sunday. I would stay the night down there, and it would be 2 different classes down there also.
Wow.
So on good months, I would have all weekends filled up with classes. Yes.
So you really did have quite a change in your business. I mean, it's.
Yes, had a big impact. Yes.
Okay. I know for me, the day I left the classroom, I thought I would see the students again in 2 weeks. I told them to enjoy their spring break, and I'll see them in a couple of weeks. I had no idea that we'd be sitting here months into this, and still no plan of going back and seeing them. And it's a slow start back up for you as far as getting your courses, because I know the retailer, their prime opening is not having you in their painting. I'm sure that they're more focused on their retail. So it's difficult. It's difficult to try to get back to the reopening. What were you thinking in the beginning? Were you thinking just a couple of weeks as well?
Like you, I thought just a couple of weeks, and with my classes being on a monthly schedule, I didn't think I'd miss anything. I told all my students, we'll see you next month. I didn't know between those classes that everything was going to shut down. I didn't foresee that at all.
Wow.
I really thought I would miss class, wouldn't miss a beat.
Yeah. Well, I know for me personally, I've tried to stay active, but at the same time, it's difficult. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you're excited to work. Okay. You know, that blank canvas you talked about. And then when you realize, well, I don't get to do that today. I'm not going to have students today, and I'm not going to be able to do this. What have you been doing?
The first couple of weeks of the shutdown early in this year, I just got bored. Just sit around, watch TV, ate too much. I realized I have to do something. So that's when I started doing the Facebook Live events where I would, post an event online and it would pick a day and sit down. Like I said, this is the last one I did. And that was an exciting opportunity because it really broadened my exposure to potential students. And I was getting people from New Zealand, Tel Aviv, United Kingdom that were watching my Facebook Lives. And Facebook Live, you can interact. People can type in and you can see their chat, answer the questions, and talk to them. So that was really a fun development that came out of the COVID, because I wasn't doing that beforehand.
So when you do the Facebook Live, tell me what that means, because you're painting in front of a camera for people watching. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you actually teaching them then, or are they just observing? What's going on?
Typically, if there were people who wanted to paint along, I would post a color list, what size canvas, and if there was any special instructions we needed to do beforehand, I would share that in the Facebook Live announcement. So yes, I would have people painting along, and that's where I had to do a lot of learning, because I'm used to doing the TV show, used to doing rock and roll painting. I was just painting fast, and I had everybody telling me slow down, because they wanted to paint along. So it was a learning experience for me, and I know I talk too fast. I apologize if I'm doing that, but it was a good learning for me to slow down and give them time, interact, let them catch up. So it would take a little longer than what I was normally doing, but it was still fun to. Afterwards, the next day, I would have all these people posting on Facebook that they're painting, that they painted along with, and that was fun for me to see people I didn't know, had never met, doing paintings of mine.
JD, as an entrepreneur, and I know that the COVID's been a struggle for you, but were you able to get some assistance? I mean, I know every day we hear the news, and we hear the news about helping small business and such, and you're a small business. Were you able to at least get some help through that?
Yes, when all this first happened, I was worried, because that was going to be a lot of lost income if this was going to drag on. But paying attention to what was being available in the payment protection plan, I was able to go online, fill out the application, and learn that yes, I did qualify, because I was a small entrepreneur, one-person business, and I was losing income. So I was able to qualify for some assistance through that, which did help make up some of the lost income. So I was appreciative of that.
Good. I'm glad to hear that helped, because a lot of times in the community, we don't really know how important that is. But, trying to support a local entrepreneur is important. But then in troubled times, we also need to make sure that, the government and different people that had those funds available to us took care of our local people. So it sounds like they have, and they've done a good job. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. So JD, what's the future look like for you?
The future, to keep on teaching, to keep on doing the show, to keep on painting, because I find out if a day goes by that I don't paint, I feel like I've just wasted a day. So I want to keep growing and learning as an artist, and who knows what masterpieces are out there, but it's going to be fun for me to learn and grow as time goes on.
Do you see yourself having to make some changes going forward? Because I mean, like myself, I'm teaching 100% online right now, and I'm continuing to build the relationships. I'm finding new ways to add to my classes through online versus face-to-face. I get to speak with the students through Zoom. I speak with them through the telephone. I'm going to hold some competitions in my online classes. So I'm going to make sure that we still have that engagement. How are you making changes in your world?
Well, I'm going to start doing more private classes instead of public classes, where people can be with people they know and feel safe with, as far as, as long as COVID is still a threat. And the Zoom, I've been talking to a lot of people, been learning of what can be done in what I do on Zoom, but there's some issues of, I do a lot of oil paints and thinners, and I normally provide those materials in a class. So if it's a Zoom type setting, I can't provide those materials. So there's still some logistics that need to be worked out, and maybe, doing acrylics instead of oils, but that's something that's in the planning.
Okay, great. So it sounds like you're going to continue to develop and grow and do what you love to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm too young to give up. And, found early retirement, I'm not going to sit on the front porch and watch the grass grow. No way.
No, nor should you. So one of the things I always like to ask entrepreneurs though is, I know you probably don't track your hours, but on average, how many hours a week do you think you work?
Well, if you ask it that way, how many hours a week do I work? It's zero, because I'm having fun. If you're having fun, it's not work.
That's what I like to hear. But how many hours are you putting into this fun?
Okay, you asked it correctly. Some days it's never the same. I mean, when I have a class day, it's an all day. I'll be 8 to 10, hours a day, getting all the gear there, setting up, bringing all the gear home. On a normal day, if I'm just painting, 3 to 4 hours a day.
Okay, so it varies.
Holidays too. I'll paint on Christmas Day.
And if it's what you enjoy, you should definitely do it.
Yeah, because it's not work. Like I said, I've been lucky enough to find this time and this opportunity to do that, so I take full advantage of it.
Okay, so what's the one thing that you really enjoy the most about being an entrepreneur?
Like I said earlier, just seeing the faces on people when I share what I'm doing, that they can do it too. So providing that service for them. Like I say, if somebody comes in and says, I can't draw a straight line, and they walk out with this wonderful mountain or seascape, and they're just grinning ear to ear, that's just something I really enjoy.
Okay. Now, JD, there's something that I always talk about is when it comes to art, and that's value. How in the world, as an entrepreneur, do you price your product for value?
That's a good question. I know if it's a painting I'm selling, sometimes it's what will it take for me to let go of that? Because if it's something I like a lot, I'm not going to let go of it. There is some standard pricing formulas for paintings as far as size and how long it takes you, but that's one of the most difficult things. And I don't know if there's not a one concrete answer on what kind of. And sometimes family and friends get a price that a complete stranger wouldn't get.
Sure. Well, and I mean, that's something that as an entrepreneur, a lot of times, if it's a service, people just try to maybe, take advantage of the pricing, but as an entrepreneur, we have to stand true to it. So it's pricing is always a difficult thing for entrepreneurs.
The pricing of the classes, I haven't changed in the 6-7 years I've been teaching. So it's time I raised that price. And I just kind of went with the price that I know other instructors are charging.
So JD, our time has come to an end. It's been excellent time to talk to you, get to know you. I wish you great success. And maybe in 2024, we'll hear you talking about being a president again.
Well, maybe we'll take that goal up again.
And when I do get to visit your studio and see more of your work, I want to see a picture of Abraham Lincoln that you've painted.
Okay, I've not done it yet, but maybe I need to work on that.
Maybe that'll be your next show. All right, JD, thank you for being on the show.
All right, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
This concludes another episode of In Your Business. As we've started our 16th season in Your Business, it's a real delight to start it with JD, a local artist, somebody who's turned art and entrepreneurship into his dream, and he's really enjoying it. So I hope all of us can enjoy entrepreneurship. Thank you for your tolerance and understanding of the fact we're working from home. It changed the show a lot, but at the same time, we're going to continue to get to know local entrepreneurs as we watch In Your Business. Thank you.